I'm told Josh Jacobs is now not expected to play on Sunday for the Oakland Raiders. They're trying to make an improbable run to the playoffs, and it sounds like their Rookie of the Year candidate not going to be with them. He's dealing with a shoulder injury, also a leg infection. The combination of both of those make it unlikely he's going to see the field. So 2 weeks in a row for the Raiders, they're going to have to go do it without one of their best players helping.
Yeah, and you mentioned improbable path, but Titans lost, Steelers lost, Colts win. And, well, they got to beat the Broncos and DeAndre. Okay, there we go. It is maybe improbable. Exactly. That's it. Thank you, Ian.
That's the way to compete. It wasn't perfect, but you guys competed your ass off, and that was the difference. All right, so look, this is very simple now, okay? This is a playoff game. Miami's a playoff game. If we beat Miami, then we get a bye. If we don't, then we'll be playing the next week. So it's a playoff game, so we got to be ready to go here. We need our best week, keep building on what we've been building on here, all right? And keep this thing rolling. But, fellas, that was a damn good job today. But this is playoff. I saw some guys step up today. We need everybody, all right? So let's enjoy this one. Let's relax a little bit here. Come back ready to go. This is a big week. We're in the playoffs. We are in the playoffs now. AFC East champs. Congratulations.
Big win over the Bills put the Patriots in this position. They will clinch the number 2 seed by defeating the Miami Dolphins. It's that simple. If they lose and Kansas City loses to the Chargers, then they will get the bye as well. But if they lose and Kansas City sweeps the AFC West, then they will be playing on Wild Card Weekend. We mentioned the dearth of TD tosses. His QB rating's the lowest it's been in almost a decade. But as long as Tom is in the playoffs, Mike Giardi, the Patriots feel pretty darn good about their chances. And as you heard Coach Belichick say there, they're approaching this week as a playoff game. And the players are telling you what? That this is more of a challenge than maybe we think.
Yeah, absolutely. And because, Matt, of the opponent that they're facing, not only a division opponent, the Miami Dolphins, but the overlap in coaches. Brian Flores, of course, was the de facto DC here a year ago. Now the head coach brought with him several staff members, including Chad O'Shea, who runs the offense for them. And I was talking to Devin McCourty yesterday, and he's like, Mike, I swear, he's like, we have to study more for this because they know how we're thinking and how we're approaching the game. So now you have that part of it in your head as you're trying to get ready. Well, do they know too much? And how do we counter them knowing too much? I asked Belichick about that today as well. He said, look, you go into a game, what are they going to have, 65 plays or so? He goes, but we, because of our experience with them, we're looking at so many more plays because we, again, have an idea that they're thinking the way we're thinking, and how do we counter that? He said, and at some point, you just got to say the heck with it. You roll your players out there and see what happens.
Now, is it just because they're trying to curry favor for their friends there in Cambridge and his Harvard alumnus status, or what are they saying about their respect for Dolphins quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick?
The word that has come up over and over again, Matt, is aggressive. Ryan Fitzpatrick is an aggressive quarterback, and if you sit back and you let him take chances, he will do exactly that. If you're not on your assignment, he will look to make a play over the top of you, and I think that comes as a good and bad for the Miami Dolphins because he's not afraid to throw those 50-50 balls, which the Patriots have done an exceptional job this year of getting hands on, or in many cases, like with Stephon Gilmore, getting interceptions. So I think they feel like there'll be plays to be made against Ryan Fitzpatrick. But if they don't, let Miami stay in this game, then you're in a dogfight, and you don't want to be at this point of the year. You want to get this thing over with quickly and send Miami on their way.
Yeah, and I know it's not the color of kryptonite, but teal's pretty close. We've mentioned it before, but they have only swept the Dolphins once in the previous 6 seasons. So see if they can get that sweep again this year. Thank you, Mike. And if you want insight, how about our Super Bowl winning general manager, Charlie Casserly, giving you the goods on the Patriots' path to a Week 17 win? How about a key for New England to get that victory and get that bye, Charlie?
Hey, Coach Belichick talked about building. Well, let's build on that running game that started last week against Buffalo. Why are they running the ball better? First of all, they moved Landon Roberts, linebacker, 52, to fullback. It gives him a blocker, so let's roll the tape there. And Isaiah Wynn, he's over at left tackle. So this is a better running group of people, and there's a power run up the middle, and Michel has a hole, something he didn't have, and he powers through people. The power running game. The fullback was a Landon Roberts there. Now here, there's no fullback, but they're going to pull the guard. Now, he might do a great job, but he gets the extra blocker in the hole. Again, Michel is powering through. What does this all mean? Play action passes here. The linebackers are all going to overreact to the fake and open up a wide open Julian Edelman in the middle of the field. There's nobody near this guy. Why? It's play action. The running game opens up the passing game. Other than Edelman, they have no receiver that can beat one-on-one coverage. The play action will help him in that area.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. A little breakdown there. We'll get many more from him throughout the next hour and a half. Here are your AFC standings. Get a look at the wild card. Still up for grabs. That 6 seed, it belongs to the Titans right now, but they have to win in Texas in order to hang on to it. However, if they lose, the Steelers win, they'll slide in. If they both lose and a couple other things happen, the Raiders slide in. You get the point. Let's roll with our troubadour of the triangular set. It is time for some math-tastic action and our predictive analytics guru, Cynthia Freeland. All right, Cynthia, let's get it started with that wild card spot and how Pittsburgh can try to stake their claim in a home contest against the Ravens.
Well, I actually have Pittsburgh winning this game 23-20. Why? Well, we've already seen a very long list of Ravens players who are not playing, which means that Pittsburgh's attributes are probably going to be the more dominant ones. So for me, rushing outside the tackles, which is something the Ravens do well, and the Steelers defend well, is an advantage for them. In fact, they are the third best yards per carry allowed, so third fewest yards per carry allowed on rushes outside the tackles, an area where you've seen the Ravens be really, really good. In fact, the best in the NFL, 6.5 yards per rush outside the tackles. But that's when Lamar Jackson's playing, because Lamar Jackson himself averages 8. Not 1, that's a ridiculous number, 8 yards per rush outside the tackles. And with RG3 and you're not having some Mark Ingram, there's going to be some changes there. So I look for the Steelers defense to be the dominant force in that one.
All right, and individual player we have?
Devlin Hodges, of course.
Ooh,
because
you're going with Duck.
Why not? Who else is playing? That's one of the few that we absolutely know for sure is playing. So I have 236 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, but I have a pick there for him.
Well, hey, look, he's got, 6, I think, in the last 3 or something like that.
That's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Crazy
That's what the model says.
throwing a pick out there for the Duck. How about Titans versus Texans? Titans win, they're in. What do you see?
And I think that that's what happens. I have 24-21 in this one. I want to talk about Ryan Tannehill and play-action passing. He actually ranks second best in the NFL using play-action passes. That's 140.7 passer rating, which is ridiculous, especially when you look to see he's throwing deeper passes. So Drew Brees is number 1. Drew Brees has thrown shorter passes. Ryan Tannehill, he's throwing deeper passes on these. In fact, 3 passing touchdowns, all deep passes using play-action passing. That was something that was sort of missing from their Week 15 matchup. He was only 4 of 7 on play-action passes in that one. So I look for that to improve in this matchup. So that's obviously going to be the player who I gave you the projection for in this one. You're right?
I would like that.
Okay, 267 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. If you're going to be hanging out with any sort of format of fantasy like daily, he's a great option.
He would be your guy. All right. Thank you, Cynthia. There are a couple spots.
To offense in recent years. He was coaching the wide receivers. You get to midseason, they decided that they needed to make changes. They move Raheem to defense, and that certainly seems like that's one of the factors where they've gotten better on that side of the ball. Remember, Dan Quinn has gone through several changes. He's a guy with a defensive background. He fired Richard Smith after the Super Bowl appearance. He fired another coordinator, Marquand Manuel, after last season, and then basically got halfway through this year and fired himself as defensive coordinator, turned over the play calling to others. If Raheem Morris does stay and does not get a head coaching job elsewhere, that is a key piece of what they're going to be in 2020.
All right, so a pair of stories to some degree that are affected off the field. What about one on the field? Zach Ertz has got 35, I believe 33 more receptions than the next leading Eagle. We know how important a piece he is to that Eagles offense. What is his status for this must-win game on Sunday?
Well, the good news is Zach Ertz was on the field for practice today. The bad news is it did not sound like he did very much, and he's dealing with a rib injury, also listed on the report as a back injury, and Coach Doug Peterson basically said he wasn't sure how much he'd actually be able to do, and this is about keeping him out of harm's way. He wants to play very badly. He's pushing to play, but is it safe enough? That's something they don't know yet.
A good piece of injury news for that Eagles offense, Ian. Jordan Howard, their running back, cleared for contact yesterday, and Doug Peterson says he will be good to go in that big Week 17 game against the Giants. Howard has missed the last 6 games in a row because of his shoulder injury. He just seemed to be hitting his stride, too, right before he went down. Peterson suggested that we're going to see a mix here. Miles Sanders, of course, has been productive for them. Boston Scott has gotten the ball recently. Howard, though, brings a different physical type of an element to that offense. That's something they feel they've been missing.
All right. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Tom. You mentioned Jordan Howard, 6 touchdowns from scrimmage in those 6 weeks prior to that injury. So certainly a welcome addition should he be able to get out there. As news breaks, we'll bring the both of you back throughout the hour and whatever 50 minutes we have left. Meanwhile, Week 14, the Giants jumped the Birds for a 17-0 lead, only to watch Carson Wentz rally his Eagles, throwing for